G'day folks, and welcome back to Great Chesterford Junction Model Railway. This is an update on what's been going on here for the last little while since the last update, so I can show you a few things. So let's get into it. Well folks, one of the first things I did was build this water crane kit for Bamford here on the layout. For some time watering facilities have been lacking at this end of the layout, and we've always had the coal stage, which is over there. But yeah, this is a ratio kit, and quite clean in the moulding and everything. Very easy to build. Very delicate though, so you've got to be careful what you do with it. But that's sort of finished off the watering facilities here on Bamford. I don't know whether I really need a water crane down the other end of the platform, because the trains can pull in here and take on water and then move ahead into the coaling facility there if they need to, and simply wait and run around if they need to as well. So that was one of the that was a pleasure to build that kit actually. I painted it first and had to mask it off to get the two different colours separated, etc. But yeah, it was a bit of fun, that one. The little fire devil, or the heater, if you like, down there in the centre is particularly delicate, and you've got to get the legs on it, which is a bit tricky, and get them evenly spaced, etc. But otherwise, yeah, it looks great when it's all installed. You'll remember from the last update that I had been working on this aviation fuel depot, and all that was finished, I think, by the last time I spoke to you. However, the weathering's been done like on the fences and all that sort of thing. If I move the wagons out, you can see it better. We'll move this one as well. Yeah, it's had a bit of weathering put. I'll move the loco as well. Let's get that out. Right. Yeah, the tanks have been weathered, the fence is weathered, the building, everything. And all it requires now is a bit of... I still need to get round the back here and sort of put a bit of grass up against the very edge of it. Otherwise it's done. It has magnetic catches for the gate. There's a magnet in underneath the this mound here, which holds the gate in position. And there's another one fixed onto the gate here, the post I should say. So when you put them back, they'll be held there by magnetic attraction. Simple, yeah. So that was all completed, and you know, we've had some running sessions with tankers coming and going, and everything works fine. The ideal is to sit about 3 tankers in there. It will hold 4, but 3 is pretty good. On top of that, I think last time I didn't have this pipeline going up to the airfield. The pipeline leaves the back of the pump house here, goes up to the airfield, and then goes underground across to the hangar area where there's bowsers and all that sort of thing that you can't actually see, but it's you know, insinuated that they're over there. You've got to use a bit of imagination, I suppose, on that one. The other thing I've been doing is building these tanker kits, the Daypole tankers. I've built 4 of them. There's 3 BP and 1 SO, and you can see now that they're actually weathered as well. And there was an additional kit that I built up the end there. I'll get these out so we can have a better look at them. The wagon up there with the little vehicle on it, the road vehicle, is one of the Daypole Lomac wagon kits. So I'll pull these out and we can have a better look at them. Now folks, one of the things you've got to remember about these kits is they used to be the old Airfix kit, and on the Daypole packaging, there's tells you quite clearly. I'll just quote from what it says. Please note that whilst we strive for perfect quality, due to the age of the tooling, it is inevitable that some flashing and slightly mismoulded parts will arise. If this is the case and the kit is unusable, please return the kit to your retailer with proof of purchase for a replacement. Now that's all and good. So you know what to expect before you even open the package. So yeah, I thought, okay, I can deal with that. So each one of these kits, the 3BP and the SO, all pretty much performed the same way when building them. A certain amount of flashing had to be removed on one of the BP wagons. The actual side of the chassis had a slight bend in it, and I sort of gently eased that out. But generally speaking, the kit went together fairly easily, but that involves me also sort of reaming out, locating holes, making sure that everything would fit properly before I even attempted to glue it. So there was a bit of extra work involved with this kit, although if you go back 20 or 30 years, you're expected to do that sort of thing anyway. So anyway, with this particular SO one, when I got to the stage where the kit was complete, the body had been sprayed gloss before putting the decals on. I got to the decal stage. So one of the first things I did was I got the SO decal, and I slid it on to this panel here. Now you'll note that if we look over here at the BP wagon here, you can see this raised panel, which is like a shield, I suppose. That's stuck on separately onto the tanker. Now the BP logo there, or the decal, fits within that panel very easily. But when you come over to the SO one, you can see that it's pretty much identical in size to the panel that it has to fit. Now, this is not the original decal, because the decal that was supplied with the kit, when I put it on, it actually overlapped the edges of the panel to the extent where I had to try and push down the sides around the edge of the panel to sort of get it to stay on there, which it did initially. And I thought, well, when I give this wagon the final coat of matte clear to seal the decals and everything in place, I thought that'll do the job and that'll hold it in place. But that was not the case. It just did not work, and I finished up scraping these SO decals off the wagon, and then I downloaded some logos from the internet, and I found an SO one that was appropriate for the age. Also had a few rust stains and everything on it, which was quite good. Resized it, printed it out on A4 paper, glued it onto the wagon, and then sealed it with the matte clear finish. So that's how that's come about. I actually prefer this one to the original. So that's something that needs to be addressed, I think, by Daypol. Sizing can be done in the print when it's being manufactured. That's one thing. I also found with these wagons that the wheels that are supplied with them have a very small flange on them. And to top it off, when you check the back-to-back measurements on them, they're not correct. They had to be reset. And the first BP wagon I built, and I don't know which one it is here now, but one of these, when I built it, it was constantly derailing in my hidden fiddle yard, whereas on a section of the track where everything else runs over it. So the solution for that was I put some older wheels on all of these wagons now, with bigger flanges, and everything runs properly. So I think if you had your track laid perfectly, it'd probably be okay with the very fine flanges, but I just wasn't quite happy with it in the end, and so I've put older wheels on to do that, to cope with that. So, and everything runs fine now. The openings in the axle boxes actually had to be reamed out a little as well to accommodate the axles properly so that they had free movement. But that wasn't terribly difficult to do, and that was done when the wagon was already built. I've weathered these with chalk pastels, so it's by scraping the powder off the pastel onto the wagon and spreading it around with a stiff brush. I then go over it with a very soft brush to sort of get rid of the excess and sort of not make it look like extreme weathering, but just enough weathering to sort of give the effect that they've been on the rails for a while. Of course, I've got my own magnetic couplings on there. I have two types of magnetic coupling now, and they only vary in length. You'll notice with some of these wagons, especially these tanker wagons, the length of the buffer here is considerably longer than you would get, say, on a little, say, a mainline wagon. The mainline wagon would only come out to half this distance. Now, for clearances and everything, what that means is I need the magnetic coupling to come out to approximately the end of the buffers. So if I use one of my shorter magnetic couplings, it won't reach enough, and then you'll have buffers binding on a curve. So we've got long couplings for this sort of buffer and short couplings for the other type, and that's all there is to it. Yeah, I've also added some flat steel, 60 millimeters long, inside the tanks before they're all put together, so each wagon has a weight, and they work quite well. Now that brings us to this Lomac wagon here. Again, another Daypole kit, and if we take the little vehicle off from the chain, we can have a better look at it. So it looks pretty good. This kit, I had terrific problems with it, to the point where I thought this is not worth building. And what happened was that, maybe we'll just have a look underneath it. Now what you can see here is not the original wheels. That's one of these bits of steel that I've added as a weight. The problem was with the original axles, and well, I don't really know about the wheels because I never got to that stage. But what happened was, when you build this kit, it's very simple to build, very, very simple. And these sides of the chassis fit into slots. There's another row of these sort of webs on the other side, and it fits in, so there's no sort of doubt about fitting the chassis sides on properly. You can do it very accurately, actually. Anyway, I got to that stage, and I put the buffer beams on the end and fitted the wheels. Now, you would not believe how much movement there was in the axle. It was literally flopping around in there, and I put both axles in, put the wagon on the track, and as it rolled along, it was sort of bumping up and down because of the axles being so loose in the frames. And I thought, right, forget it. I thought, this is not worth the trouble. Anyway, I walked away from it for a day and had a think about it. And I came back and I measured. I've got a digital caliper. I measured the original axles that were supplied with the kit, and they came in at 25.7 millimeters. And the standard is supposed to be 26 millimeters. So not a big difference, you would think. So I thought, well, I'll try some different wheels and axles. So I found some spare wheels I had with axles that were 26 millimeters, which is supposed to be the standard, put them in, and it was doing exactly the same thing. And so a standard axle basically was not long enough to fix the problem. And so what I ended up doing in the end was I found I had a Pico, P-I-K-O, a Pico wagon with some nice metal wheels on it, with fairly big flanges. And I thought, if I can make myself a longer axle to fit in here, it should work. So I had some 2mm rod that came with a set of gears that I bought once online, and I actually made my own axles at 27mm, and that's done the job. You can see there's a little bit of movement there, but this is nothing compared to what the original axles did. They were all over the joint. So I made myself some 27mm axles, fitted the Pico wheels on, and in the meantime I'd also managed to cut the flanges down a bit too as well, and that solved the problem in the end. And we finished up with this Lomac now that, when you get it on the track, actually works. So yeah, so I would never build another one. It's just not worth the trouble. And you can get these ready to run from the all the suppliers that we know. And so yeah, it's just not worth the time and effort of trying to get one of these to work properly. So I can also, I should mention too that I found it a very frustrating build, this one, and I sent off an email to Daypol, gently sort of complaining about it and sort of making suggestions that they should look at it and see if they can remedy it in some way. And one of my friends on the railway forum suggested, well, you'll be lucky if you get an answer about that sort of thing, because the kits are so old. And so the email was sent well over a week ago, and he was right. I still haven't heard anything back from Daypol. So I can't really recommend these unless you're prepared to do a fair bit of work on them. The other thing I've accomplished since I last talked to you was the conversion of this mainline warship. I did a video years ago where I actually rebuilt this thing, still using the original mainline motor, etc., and worked out a slightly different suspension system so that the loco would run correctly. That mainline mechanism has sort of failed in the meantime. So this loco has been in the parts bin for a while, or project's bin I should say, and so I thought I'd have a crack at trying to do something with it. And what I did is I've been working on a Lima Class 33 restoration, and mostly on the body. The mechanism was okay, although I think the chassis needed a bit of work as well, but you know, it was not beyond repair. And but the problem is I've got quite a few Class 33s now. They seem to be quite readily available at good prices. So I thought, well, I don't really need another Class 33, and I wonder if I can adapt the Lima motor bogies, motor and pickup bogies, to work in this mainline chassis, which I did in the end, as you can see, and here it is here. The fundamental differences in the two mechanisms were that the wheel spacing was about the same. However, the Lima wheels are just slightly bigger. I had to cut away some of the Lima bogies to expose the wheels to give you that exposed look that you get on these warships. And the mainline chassis had to be opened out to accept the Lima motor. I had to put some retainers on the Lima motor to stop it falling out of the chassis. And up the pickup bogie end, I had to put a plate into the mainline chassis and drill a hole in it to take the pin system that Lima uses. But otherwise, it all came together fairly easily, I would say, and yeah, this runs better than ever now. So I've got a video of that running as well. So this is not one for the purists. You better run away and hide and not look too closely at this if you're a purist. My main focus was on having a locomotive that I particularly like the look of this locomotive. My main focus was on having a locomotive that actually runs, and so it's given me a bit more variety in the type of locos I have, and I've got a spare Lima Class 33 body to muck around with if I want to, and a chassis actually. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that. There's a few little difficulties here that we've seen, but everything works out well in the end. So we'll just keep pushing on. Okay, I'll see you next time. Cheers, gourmet.